Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to make a graph from data that you put into Excel. You can use this for anytime you need to do it, but this is specifically for when you're entering your data to make graphs for the Energy Skate Park lab. So I just made up some data here. I have time, position, and velocity. And I'm going to show you how to make a position versus time graph, velocity versus time graph, and then a graph that has both position and velocity on it. See the hint/recommendation sheet for the Energy Skate Park lab to know exactly what graphs you need to make for that. So to begin, what we have to do is we have to select the data that we want to do that. So I'm going to select time and position because that's going to be the first one I make. Once I have my data selected, I'm going to go up to the Insert tab, going over the charts. I'm going to go to the Insert Scatter, X, Y, or Bubble chart. Click on that. When it drops down, I'm going to use the Smooth Lines chart. Okay? Either the smooth lines with markers or straight lines with markers. One of those two, whichever one you think looks best, is the ones you should use for the Energy Skate Park lab. Obviously, for other labs or different purposes, you may want to choose something else. But we're going to choose this. And when you do that, hey, look, you have a graph. But this graph's not done. We need to put an appropriate title, and we also need to put axes labels with units. So the title, you just click on it to change, highlight what you want to delete, and then add what you need to. In order to get axes titles, if you just click on the white space of the graph, you see this little green plus sign. Click on the plus sign, then go to axes titles, click in the little box, and it will automatically add both an X and a Y axis. Again, just click into the box to change the title. So for this one, the Y would be position with units of meters. The X would be time with units of seconds. And I would name this position versus time graph. If you screw up, select the wrong data. When the whole graph is highlighted, just hit the backspace key and it will go away. So that was position versus time. For velocity versus time, this gets a little bit trickier because you have to select multiple rows of data, and they're not right next to each other. So you can either select just the data you have, or you can actually go up here and click on the entire column. So I click on the A column. Now I have to hold the Control key and click on the C column in order to do this. So let's see if I can do it one-handed since I'm holding the phone. So I'm holding the Control key, and then I click on that. So now you see those two rows are highlighted. Again, I'm going to go up to Insert, Chart. I'm going to do the same type of chart that I had. Look at that. Now, velocity is on the y-axis, which is the dependent variable. Time is the x. That's the independent variable. That's how I want it. Again, to add the titles for the axes labels, plus, and then we want to go to axes titles right there. Click on it, change the names of those, change the names of the graph, so it describes it. Typically, if you have something versus time, if you have something and time, time being the independent variable, the other thing, in this case velocity, being the dependent variable, you usually say dependent versus independent graph. So for this one, it would be a velocity versus time graph. Okay. Now, the last thing I want to show you, I'm just going to delete this for sake of space. The last thing I want to show you is to graph all the data together, because for the lab, you're going to have to graph multiple data together. So I'm just going to select all of this information because I want position versus time, velocity versus time on the same graph. Again, Insert, Chart, and going to use the same smooth line graph. As you can see, they are inversely proportional of each other. They're the opposites of each other for this. And again, I want to add, I got to obviously change my title. If you see on the bottom, this is called the legend. It tells you that the blue is position, red is velocity. Since the position is measured in meters and velocity is measured in meters per second, we don't need to add a white title with units because it's going to be different depending on which graph we're looking at. But we do still need an X. So when I go to add the titles, instead of clicking the box, this time I'm going to click on the arrow and select the horizontal only. And then I would just change that to time. Now, if you're printing this out in black and white, or even if not, when you print this out, the red and blue are going to look the same. So I'm going to show you how you can change the shape of the little dot, and it will change it both on the graph and in the legend so that you can better distinguish it. So how you do that, you're just going to click on one of the dots, and it should highlight all of them. When you have it there, right click on it and go down to Format Data Series. This little side thing is going to pop up. Let me get rid of that. When the data series pops up, click on the bucket, and then right at the top you see line or marker. Click on marker. You want marker options, so click on that so the drop-down menu pops up. Automatic means a circle. If you want to change the shape, you click on built-in, and then in this drop-down menu you can change what shape you want. So let's make it into a triangle. So when we do that, now all these dots have been changed to triangles. When you pull away, you can see we have triangles right there. I'll zoom in a little bit. You can see there's triangles, and then there's circles. And if we look at the legend, it changes it there as well. So that way, when you print it out, you can better distinguish it. Again, you need to put axis title, chart title, but that's how you make it. Now, in order to paste it into the lab report itself, you just click in the white space of the graph so that you see these little dots surrounding it. Then you can right click and do copy, or you can do Control-C to copy. And when it's copied, then just go over to your Word document, click in the Word document where you want it, and you can either right click, paste, say add another one, or Control-V, and that will paste it. If you have questions, obviously stop by and ask. Make sure you get your lab done. Read the instructions I added to it. All the information for the lab is posted on campus in the topics subsection. Underneath topics, go to labs, and you'll see it. It's all labeled as Energy Skate Park Lab. Make sure you get it done. Work on it as soon as you can. And if you have questions, let me know. See ya.